Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our webinar today. Thank you all for joining us. We're happy to have you all here, whether you're watching live or in recording. Just so you know, we are recording this webinar, and those of you who have registered for it will receive a registration link to the recording and all the slides in about 24 hours, approximately. And if you'd like to chat with the panelists and everyone who is in attendance, please be sure that you click on the little blue tab and indicate all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see what you have to say and respond to your chat as well. If there is a Zoom failure, please meet us on sidelitseducation.com and click on webinars, and we'll give you more information about how to hook up with us and continue learning on our webinar. So I'd like to turn it over to Anna Mattis, who will introduce our wonderful presenter today.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Stephen, if you'll go ahead one more slide. There we go, so people can see your information. I'm very honored today to be able to introduce to you Dr. Stephen Fleenor. Now, he is Sidelitz Education's resident scientist turned educator. He has his PhD in developmental neurobiology, which is really interesting. And before he gave up the white coat, or after he gave up the white coat rather, he joined the classroom so he could educate fellow youth about science and all things science. He was district teacher of the year. He was an instructional coach. And then we had the pleasure of bringing him on board about 3 years ago. And he, along with wonderful Tina Bean, co-authored Teaching Science to ELs. And you can see a picture of that right there in your bottom left. I hope I'm pointing the right way. I never know if I'm doing that correctly. I'd be an awful YouTuber. But regardless, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Stephen Fleenor this morning. Take it away.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. The pleasure and the honor is all mine. And I'm really excited to be here and join this list of webinars that we've been having. Today, I'm really excited to talk about what we're all experiencing right now, the online environment, the distance learning. And specifically, I want to talk about fostering interaction in online environments. When we're talking about interaction, it's easy to imagine what interaction used to look like, what it looked like, you know, a few months ago. We had interaction in the whole group setting, or interaction with students in a small group in their class. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, okay, what teacher in the world actually has this guy's problem where, you know, you ask a question and every single student raises their hands? I have to admit right now that this is actually not a real photo. It's a stock photo. These students were all paid very generously for raising their hands, and that was the secret. But in general, it's really easy to imagine what interaction looked like in a whole group settings, teacher interacting with students or the students interacting with each other with some hands-on, great academic language being shared. Now things are different. Things are markedly different, where we're either learning in asynchronous environments or synchronous environments. Now, asynchronous environments are environments in which not everyone is sharing things at the same time. This might look like a message board, or maybe an assignment that a teacher gives on Monday that the student's working on throughout the week and is due on Friday or something like that. A synchronous environment is an environment in which everyone is all together at the same time. And the classic kind of picture of this is the Zoom meeting, where or the Google Hangout meeting or the Microsoft Team meeting, where everyone's all together. They're probably listening to the teacher give instructions or do a lecture or give some information, and everyone's in a little box all sitting there. So when it comes to interaction, what can interaction really look like? It's easy to imagine what interaction looks like in the classroom, with a teacher interacting with the students or the students interacting with each other. But what does that look like online? And that's what I want to talk about today. And in fact, in order to start talking about interaction online, I want to model what interaction online can look like. We're going to do this with our content and language objectives. Now, let me say that before the pandemic, before we were all in the classroom, content and language objectives were extremely important, and they're extremely important to have the students interact with them. Now that we're in an online environment, content and language objectives are still just as important, and having the students interact with those objectives are still just as important. Now, we're doing a webinar right now, which means that our interaction might not be so obvious. And in fact, you might be watching this on a recording from maybe a week from now, but we're going to interact nonetheless with these content and language objectives. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to read out loud this content objective. And when I get to the blue words, foster interaction and online environments, I want you to say those words out loud. Say them as loudly and proudly as you possibly can. And I'm not going to be able to hear you. I'm not going to be able to see you, but I will be able to know that that you're all sharing. I'll feel the energy. It'll be fantastic. Now, you're probably in your house right now. You're probably either alone or you're with your family. And that's good, because your family are the people that love you, that you trust, and who will definitely not judge you if you scream from the top of your lungs these blue words when we get to them. So everybody get ready. I know you're ready. Here we go. Today we will explain how to foster interaction in online environments. It's fantastic. I could feel the ESP. I could feel the vibes. You guys were off the charts. Pat yourself on the back. That was a really good job. Okay, so I want to extend this interaction to interact with the content objective. And I want to do this using a strategy from Dr. Lorbeth Escalante in her book, Motivating ELLs. It's a fantastic strategy. It's super simple. That is to annotate the objectives we're working with. Now, there's two key words that we're dealing with today: interaction and environments. And let's annotate these objectives to talk about what those words mean. When I say interaction, I'm talking about two kinds of interaction. One is a small group interaction between 2 to 5 students. The other kind of interaction is a interaction with the whole group where everyone is sharing chorally. For example, what we just did with sharing the objectives out loud, or maybe repeating vocabulary words out loud. Both of these are forms of interaction. When I'm talking about environments, online environments, we're going to be talking about two kinds of different online environments, using those words that we used in the last slide, asynchronous and synchronous learning. When we're talking about asynchronous online environments, we're talking about these technologies, Flipgrid and Padlet. Today, we're specifically going to be talking about the app and the website Flipgrid. When we're talking about synchronous learning environments, where all students are learning together at the same time, then we're talking about all of these different platforms. Zoom is the very famous one, also Microsoft Teams, Google Hangouts, Canvas. There's even one, I don't know if you were aware, I wasn't aware until a couple of weeks ago about this one called Blue Jeans. It sounds very casual. I'm very interested in it. But today we're going to be specifically talking about this platform, Zoom, and where I'm going to be modeling how to have small group interaction in Zoom. Okay, so let's go to our language objective. Our language objective is a speaking objective. And what we're all going to do at the end of this webinar is we're all going to speak out loud using a sentence stem. One opportunity that digital learning presents is. So just like we did the content objective, I'm going to read this language objective out loud. And I'm going to read out the black words. And when I get to the blue sentence stem, we're all together going to read out the blue sentence stem. So get yourself ready. Feel prepared to read out this blue sentence stem. If you got a couple kids running around you, just grab them and put them on your lap and have them read out the blue sentence stem with you. Here we go. Let's do this. We will orally share different digital learning opportunities using the sentence stem. One opportunity that digital learning presents is, fantastic. Pat yourself on the back. Give your kid a high five. Give your cat a high five if your cat's laying there on your keyboard. And that's great. That's exactly what our language is going to be today. Again, this is a speaking objective, and we're all going to be speaking this at the end of this webinar. Okay, so let's talk about interaction. What do we really need when we're having groups interact with each other? Well, the first thing that we need is we need our groups of students to be small groups. They need to be anywhere from 2 to 5 students. And I really caution about having small groups that are bigger than 5 students, because we really want to have these environments in which students feel very comfortable sharing with each other. And when you get more than 5 students on a regular basis, it becomes very difficult for students to feel comfortable. But also, not only do they have to be in a small group, they also have to know exactly what language to use. We want them to be academically speaking and writing using language. So we need to provide the language supports that they absolutely need. That might look like sentence stems, it might look like word banks, it might look like labeled visuals. All of these are language supports that support students. And finally, students working in a small group need to have a sense of inclusivity in the class community. When I say we need to have interaction in our small groups, what I mean is every student needs to be interacting. There's a concept that we talk a lot about in sheltered instruction, and the Silence team talks a lot about, called total participation. And what that means is that everyone is actively involved in participating in the discussion. In order to do that, we have to foster a sense of inclusivity within the class community. So how do we do this? In the traditional environment, it's pretty easy to imagine how to do this. In the online environment, I want to introduce a tool called breakout rooms. And this is a tool that's available for all of these synchronous learning platforms, Zoom and Teams and Canvas and BlueJeans and Google Hangouts. I'm specifically going to be talking today about using breakout rooms in Zoom. And the way it works is you have your main meeting where you have the whole gallery of all of these different students together and the teacher together as well. And the teacher has the power to create breakout rooms and assign the students to breakout rooms. And what that does is it automatically takes the students out of this main meeting and sends them into different breakout rooms where they're with 2 or 3 or 4 other students, and they can share in small groups in these breakout rooms. Now, you can make the breakout rooms as big or small as you want to be, but again, I really recommend 2 to 5 students each in these breakout rooms. This is the digital equivalent of a teacher in a classroom saying, okay, I want you guys, you go over to this corner, you guys, you go over to that corner, work on this assignment, you guys stay in the middle, and you guys go over to this corner, and you guys go over to this corner, and work in your groups in these different corners of the room on your assignment. And I, as a teacher, I'm just going to be kind of walking around the room, checking on you guys, giving support as needed. So as a teacher or a facilitator of these breakout rooms, you have the option to step in and out of the breakout rooms at your leisure to check on the students. So to model this and to demonstrate this, a few weeks ago, I got the Silence team together, and we recorded a Zoom meeting in which I was their mock teacher, and they were my mock students. And specifically, I recorded the entire process of setting up the breakout rooms, to assigning them to breakout rooms, to having them have a structured conversation about academic content in their breakout rooms, even then to pulling them back together into the main session so I can randomly call in a few students. Now, this is a 10-minute video that I recorded, and I posted this on YouTube. I highly encourage you to watch this, and you'll get a lot more information about how to do this. The link is at the bottom left-hand corner of this slide, and it's going to remain at the bottom left-hand corner of the slide. It's bit.ly/3B, V as in Victor, D, capital L, capital R, 2. And again, it's a YouTube video that has all this information in great detail. I'm just going to show you a couple of screenshots from this video, and I'm going to play about a 1 minute clip from the video to show you how it works. So once you set up the breakout rooms, you just click up the breakout room button, and then you can decide how many rooms you want. I had most of the Silence team. I had 14 participants. So I decided I wanted 4 rooms. That would put about 3 to 4 students in each room. And then I hit create breakout rooms. And this is what appeared. It automatically created 4 breakout rooms. It assigned the breakout rooms 3 or 4 participants each. And I could adjust the settings. I could change how long they would be in their breakout room before they would automatically be sent to the main room. That was in my control. So that's what I adjusted here. I set it to 3 minutes. And then I hit this blue button, open all rooms. And let me show you what happens when I hit that blue button, open all rooms. This is a clip from the YouTube video. I'm clicking this button, open all rooms, and they just automatically get assigned. It's as simple as that. They automatically go into their breakout rooms. They're now in their own meetings together. The only person who did not get assigned was poor Laura Beth here. That's because she came in a little bit late after I created the breakout rooms. So I got to assign her just right here now. Simple as that. I sent her breakout room 4, and voila, she goes to breakout room 4. So I can hang out here by myself in the main session. You know, maybe I need to take a drink of coffee or just have a little mental recharge, but I'll probably want to go into the breakout rooms as quickly as possible. And all I have to do that is I click the join button. I can check on the time left over from the meeting. And as soon as I'm ready, I click on the breakout room and I hit join. Here I am in breakout room 1, and I see John Silitz right here, who's smiling mischievously, which means I think he was a little bit off task, but that's okay because I'm in here, so I can keep him on task. And I can interact with this group as much as I want to. And as soon as I'm ready, I can go ahead and go to the new breakout room 2, and it'll take me to an entirely different group. And all this happens very quickly, very fluidly. Here's Monica looking very serious, and Anna's taking notes like a very good student, so they're obviously on task. So I'm feeling good about this. And I'll continue doing this until I'm ready to return to the main session. And then at the end of the 3 minutes, or whenever I decide as the teacher, I can bring everyone back together. And all I have to do is just hit the close now button, and everyone automatically comes back together. And it just takes about 2 seconds of a lag before they all start appearing. And that will allow me to start to randomly call on some of the students to say, share out something you discussed with your group using the sentence stem or something like that. So it's a really simple technology. It works really, really well. And again, it works in all of these synchronous online platforms: Zoom, Hangouts, Teams, Canvas, BlueJeans. And it's very clear to see how this tool can facilitate small group discussion. However, we have to do more than this. We have to have some structure in place to make this language support and this inclusivity happen. Because imagine if we're in a classroom and we said to a group, hey, you four, why don't you go to, there's an empty classroom down the hall. Why don't you guys go hang out in that empty classroom for the next 10 minutes, working on this assignment, and come back when you're done. They might not be completely on task. There might not be equity in terms of sharing. They might not adhere to the academic language. So we need to put some structures in place. And the structures that work best come in a strategy that is my favorite strategy of all time. It's my favorite strategy in the traditional classroom. It's my favorite strategy in an online environment. And it is a strategy called QSSSA or QSSSA. Tell you what, do me a favor. If you have ever heard of QSSSA, will you just type into the chat right now, yes, I've heard of QSSSA, or oh yeah, I love QSSSA, or totally man, QSSSA rocks, if you're still living in the 80s maybe. Yeah, okay, so I can tell there is a pretty good response already from that. I can see some smoke coming out of my computer, so that must mean that this is a very popular strategy. Absolutely, it's been around for a while and people have been using it in all kinds of different ways fantastically. If you have not heard of QSSSA, I encourage you to check out some of these resources. There are 9 books that feature QSSSA in different content and different contexts. So for example, Teaching Science to English Learners, book by myself and Tina Bean, features science examples. Teaching Social Studies to ELLs by Tina Bean features social studies examples. We have all different kinds of examples. Another great resource is Google. Just go to Google and type in QSSSA, and you will get 1,000 different results of teachers and districts and schools posting different examples of QSSSA and how they've structured it. It's a fantastic resource. Everyone loves it. So this is what the QSSSA structure looked like for this synchronous learning environment that I did with the Silitz team on the video you just saw. And the structure includes a question, a signal, a stem, a share, and an assess. That's what the QSSSA stands for. Now, there's some key elements of this that are very explicit in the design of QSSSA. The first is the share is the opportunity for students to share in a small group discussion. That's where they go to their breakout rooms and they share in the small group setting. The language support comes from the question that's being asked and the sentence stem. Both of those are really important. And in fact, I've seen some teachers do some really great work before where they've said, here's a question. When you answer this question, I want you to use this word in your answer. Or they said, when answering this question, use 1 or 2 words from the word bank in your answer. Great way to provide language support in addition to the sentence stem. And then there are these other elements. There's a signal, and then there's the assess. And these are really important for building inclusivity. And the most important, in my opinion, is this signal. And what the signal is it's a thinking signal. So what I did with my sidelit students is I asked them to grab a piece of paper, and I had them write down the sentence stem on a piece of paper. So everyone took about 30 seconds to write down the sentence stem. And I said, when you've got this sentence stem finished, please hold it up. So I waited until every student had a sentence stem held up in their hand. And that way I had a visual cue of what every student was doing. What I said was, when you're ready to answer this question, when you're ready to finish this sentence, go ahead and lower your hand. And that way I could see exactly when everybody was ready. Some people went like this. Some people went, Some people started to lower and then they thought, no, I want to think about that a little bit more before they lowered. And what's important is that I waited for everybody to be ready so that everyone would have an answer ready to give when they go into their breakout room and they share with their group. But I didn't stop there. The QSSSA structure also includes an expectation for who's going to go first. And that's really powerful for removing the ambiguity that can arise when students get together. So I said, whoever's name is closest to A in the alphabet goes first. So if you're a student and your name is Anna Appleseed Alanis, it's pretty obvious you're going to go first. You have that expectation, you have your sentence with you, you're ready to share to your group, and it's structured, it's academic. And then when I brought everybody back together, I randomly called on a few students. And again, this is very, very powerful. It's supremely powerful when we randomly call on students at building inclusivity, because what it communicates is your voice, whether you're the most confident or shyest student in this class, your voice is just as important as everyone else. And that's why I'm going to randomly call on individuals. So, so all of this structure put together works brilliantly at providing a small group discussion, language support, and inclusivity. And again, I encourage you to look at these resources. I specifically want to highlight this first resource when you type in QSSSA onto Google, and that is a blog post called QSSSA More Than Turn and Talk by the Valentina Gonzalez. It is an excellent resource on looking at QSSSA in great detail. And I also want to encourage you to look at some webinars that we've been putting out. Last month, Nancy Motley looked at questioning in depth, specifically asking deep, rich questions that really promote a lot of thinking and discussion. And last week, Marcy Voss did a webinar on creating differentiated sentence stems that are both differentiated for the linguistic needs of students as well as academically aligned. You can find both of these webinars at silitseducation.com/webinars. And stay tuned, next week, there's going to be another webinar by Allison Hand, and that's going to be on building speaking proficiency to really hone in on this share part of QSSSA. So this is structuring conversations, promoting interaction in a synchronous environment. And I want to finish today by talking about how to promote interaction in an asynchronous environment, specifically talking about this technology, Flipgrid. It's a website or an app, whichever you'd like to choose. And a teacher can create a page, and the page looks something like this. And the students can sign into the page, and they can press this green button. And when they press the green button, they can record a video of themselves. The teacher gets to specify exactly how long that video should be. The default is 90 seconds, which is really excellent because it makes the students very focused, and they say exactly what they need to say to answer the question or to have the discussion. And then when the video is finished, students get to put emojis all over their videos, and they think that's hilarious and super fun. So they'll spend 90 seconds recording their video and 90 minutes putting emojis on themselves, and they'll have a great time. It'll be fantastic. And what we can do is we can structure these video posts that they're doing in the same way that we structure QSSSA. We can definitely have the question and the sentence stem for the language support. We can have them post a video, and we can say, look at another student's video and post a response to it. So what that might look like is, imagine you create this assignment on Monday. You say, here's this question, use the sentence stem, post a video of yourself sharing using the sentence stem. And on Wednesday, you say, okay, Now go and look at another student's video and record yourself responding to that video. You can use a sentence stem like, based on what Johnny said, I think, or I agree with Cynthia because, or something like that. And then on Friday, you're going to highlight a couple of videos, share a couple of videos with the whole group. And that's what is going to be this assess part. Now you might notice that this structure right here is actually QSSA. It's only 2 S's. It's conspicuously missing this signal. And that's because in an asynchronous environment, you don't need a thinking signal because students have all the think time they need in an asynchronous environment. That's really the beauty of all this, is all of a sudden now students are able to have a lot of think time to really process questions and prepare a response, especially our English learners. So we are going to model this, and we're going to model this using Flipgrid. This is going to be our language objective. Remember, it's a speaking objective. So what we're all going to do is we're all going to create a video of ourselves with the sentence stem, one opportunity that digital learning presents is, and we're going to post this onto a Flipgrid page. So write the sentence stem down. If you don't write it down, don't worry about it. It's going to be available later on. The sentence stem is one opportunity that digital learning presents is. I've created a Flipgrid page, and it is at flipgrid.com/Fleenor3879, or you can just follow this QR code right here. It will ask you for a password, and a great password is, or the password is Silence 2020, and it'll give you the option to record a video. Now, you might be a little bit embarrassed about yourself. You might not want to record a video for whatever reason. There is an audio option, and the audio option is to grab your favorite book, like for example, Teaching Science to English Learners. And when you're about to record your video, hold the book in front of your face as you're using the sentence stem, and that will be your audio option. It's a fantastic low-tech way of doing it. So today's Wednesday, May 13th. I'm going to be looking at these videos over the next couple of days. I encourage you to not only post a video, but also to look at the videos that get posted. And you'll get bonus points if you respond to someone's posts. On Friday, May 15th, I'm going to share out 2 or 3 of these videos on Twitter with some commentary or some congratulations to really highlight some of the posts. That's going to be the assess piece of this QSSSA. So we have a question, what is one opportunity that digital learning presents? We have our STEM, one opportunity that digital learning presents is. We have our method of sharing, and we have our assess, which you'll see from me on Twitter. Again, this is asynchronous, so you can do it anytime over the next 48 hours. And with that, I want to leave us on our most important slide. It's our most important slide because I just want to say thank you so much for attending today, for being present, and most importantly, for the work you're doing as an educator. It is the most important work in the history of the world, and I'm so grateful for all the work that everyone's doing. If you want some more information, please feel free to follow me. I'm at @Fleenor on Twitter, or you can follow Silence Education, Silence_ed. Silence Ed Chat is a really great hashtag to follow, and I would be honored and thrilled if I got an email from you. Please email me with any questions or anything else. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over now to Anna to see if she has any questions from you guys.
Hi, Stephen. Actually, you don't have any questions because we had so much help in our chat today from everybody that knows what's going on, that any participant questions that came up were already answered. So
isn't that beautiful? And that's what we want our small group discussions to really consist of, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are really excited about the book that you and Tina wrote. It is such a fabulous resource, and we have something exciting coming up. If you want to, we're going to talk about it with the upcoming webinars. In case you didn't know, friends out there, that Stephen's going to be doing a conference on it just a week from now. So we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, no questions for now. So let's go ahead and talk about what we have coming up. If you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're getting a lot of thank yous. While we're transitioning, don't forget to answer his question on Flipgrid. Stephen's going to be picking a winner. We're not sure if you're actually going to win anything except admiration from him, which is wonderful.
A wink and a smile.
A wink and a smile. He's a great guy, everyone. Okay, so he already mentioned the hashtag Side Let's Ed chat to everyone. And just in case you haven't been able to join us, Valentina leads us in Twitter chat. It is there for you between 7 and 7:30. It's the first and third Tuesday of every month. And we always have really relevant, engaging topics and co-hosts that jump on. So please come interact with us. We have the sideletsblog.org. Now we've been sharing that QSSSA link a lot during the chat, but you can simply just go and find our blog and search for it again, and filled with wonderful information. I know we have another blog post from Nancy Motley coming out just this week. Actually, today, I think it'll be coming out. So those are some resources for you. And then if you take a look at the next slide that we have coming up, we are offering a number of webinars. Now, Stephen already mentioned Allison's Hands, which is going to be next Wednesday, the 20th. If you were with us on Monday, you heard me mention that we're doing Texas, the 154 ESL certification prep. Now, this is more the form of a conference. So it's taking place this Saturday and then the following Saturday. And if you take a look at it, our own Adrian Mendoza is doing the same session that he did a few weeks ago on using math manipulatives, but this time it's going to be entirely in Spanish, but we'll still be there to help you out in English in the chat if you need us. And then that 20th day is really exciting because you'll have Allison's webinar in the afternoon. And if you want to join us in the morning, now you can go ahead, Stephen. His conference is going to be on high yield strategies that are taken from the book Teaching Science to ELS. So it's 9:30 to 12:30. It is an online conference, and you can register for that on our website. And we're really excited about that coming up. Dr. Patricia Morales has a webinar, which is on optimizing and enriching literacy that's happening during quarantine. Again, another webinar offering completely in Spanish. And finally, Adrian Mendoza is coming back for his own conference on sheltered math. I know a lot of you mentioned him in the chat, so we're excited to have him presenting with us. And that is, again, in the form of a conference and not a webinar. So you can register for that on our website. And I think, Stephen, that might be it.
All right.
Les, we have another slide, which I don't think we do in this one. So
Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you for attending today, or those of you that are viewing and recording. We really love collaborating with all of you. And Dr. Fleenor, just amazing. Everything that you shared with us today can be applicable not only in virtual learning, but also in traditional classrooms too. So we appreciate all of your knowledge. And Anna, thank you so much for everything as well. So with that said, thank you all. Have a great day. Happy Wednesday, and have a happy week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
bye. Thank you.